thought I'd shoot a quick live. I was actually just recording a video on the topic tomorrow isn't promised to anyone. So it's about mortality. And I just thought I'd shoot a quick live because I missed something that I thought was important. So earlier I was having a chat to my friend and life coach who was explaining to me, we was talking about this topic, you know, about the effects of wasting time. And I talk about this, you know, I've talked about it in a few lives and a few videos about you know, procrastination and wasting the time that you have on this earth. Because think about time, the time that we have is the most precious resource that we have. And, you know, to waste it, I think is the worst thing that you can do, basically. And, you know, whether you're wasting time, it's subjective. So we could explore some kind of, let's explore some concepts there, right? What do we mean by waste, right? So wasting time to me would be waiting for life to hand you an opportunity, procrastination, maybe waiting for someone to come back to you, you know, if you've had some kind of like breakup or something like this. So waiting in terms of personal relationships, or waiting for a pay rise or something like this. I would consider all those things a waste of time. You might not, I don't know, we've all got different perspectives on it. And it's like, how do you value your time, right? I would say a waste of time is not living in alignment with your identity, you know? So I talk a lot about identity. Let's explore that. Right, identity is, how do you see yourself? If you say to yourself that you know, the opinion that you have about yourself is, I'm this person, I am, let's say you have an opinion about yourself that I always eat well, I'm healthy and all, and then you go and eat a bunch of junk, right? That to me is not living in alignment with your identity, and that's also wasting time. And that really is quite tragic, really, in terms of, you know, tomorrow isn't promised to you and you're just wasting it on doing things that are not in alignment with your identity. I also think that wasting your time is basically not being as good as you possibly can be every day, you know? And I don't mean like, you know, the whole David Goggins thing, like you have to run fucking marathons and all the rest of it. I love the art, yeah, cheers. Yeah, you mean the Star Wars stuff at the top, right? So if you want to know where I get this from, I know this is off topic, sorry, but go online. My friend, the Urban Giant, just look on Instagram, Urban Giant, Mark Turley. He's absolutely brilliant, does all this sort of stuff. I mean, he's an architectural illustrator. He draws buildings and like things like cathedrals and stuff. His artwork is absolutely mega. And he does the Star Wars, but he's also done things like, one of my favourite ones got in the hallway is Ghostbusters Lego. Anyway, go and check out his stuff, right? I'll just plug him a bit because I must have bought about 20 pieces from him and it's absolutely brilliant. Anyway, back on topic, yeah. But by the way, that's not wasting your life, by the way. I think appreciating art is one of them things that's great about this world. Yeah, go and take a look. Urban Giant, Mark Turley, Mark with a C. So yeah, he won't mind me saying that either. He's a good guy, Mark. That is not where I love art, and this is about you know, how do you spend the time that you've got on this earth, right? You certainly should be enjoying things that you enjoy, and also so it's almost like living in accordance with your identity, right? So if you think about your identity, what is the identity that you hold for yourself? Might not be. So you might, when you live in accordance with your identity, you're kind of happy, you're in alignment. when you're telling yourself that, or you're telling other people that you're this person, and then you're secretly, I don't know, addicted to drugs or porn or something like this, and you're pretending not to be, that's when you're not going to be happy. You're not going to be living in accordance with your identity. Another way is, when you see, I don't want to dwell too much on this, but I think underachievement is also something that you should look at. Now, people have different levels of achievement, but your achievement should always be in alignment with the identity that you hold for yourself, right? Not everyone is going to be a complete world beater, but I also think that being the best that you can be every day is really good. One thing that I would advise you to do is always live with intent each day. Set out what are the top 3 things that you need to do today. This is what I do, right? Continuous improvement, continuously, every day, just say, what are the top 3 things that I'm going to do today? Small things. They might only be 20 minutes or sort of half an hour each, but I'm going to do them. And that is it. And if you just live like that with a bit of intent, right? So every day I do a bit of gratitude. I write down the top 3 things that I'm going to do today. I'll read, I'll do some exercise, and then I'll go and do them 3 things. Plus I've got all the other things, general life, but I'll make sure I am living with some intent every day, and that helps you to live in accordance with your identity. And then one of the big areas that I focus on a lot is health, your mental health and your physical health, right? Because if you think about the term, tomorrow isn't promised to any of us, right? I do believe that you should be trying to live as healthy as you can, right? To avoid suffering the effects of poor health, because to me, the worst thing would be to live your final 20 years in a poor state of health when you could have enjoyed them 20 years. And so this is why I bang on about like diet a lot and looking after your health, because I think it's like the cornerstone. It's like you owe it to yourself to live as well as you can and be as healthy as you can, right? So you can experience the best out of life. And you don't just owe it to yourself, you owe it to everyone who is close to you as well. And I think that's kind of a responsibility for ourselves to look after our mental and physical health, because the best we are, the better we will be for others as well. And that's it, right? So I think that's mega. The other one is like when it comes to goal achievement, right? Obviously, I talk about a lot about goal achievement. I like setting goals and achieving them incrementally by working on 3 small things a day. I think you can do that in any area of life. And excuse me. Obviously, I use this, which if you've not seen it before, the Life Harmony model, which has got all 7 areas on where you can assess yourself. Also got it in the journal. And then you look at where you are, where you want to improve, and then you just create some goals and achieve them. And I always think that, there's always someone in your life that that's underachieved, right? And I've seen people that they've wasted 2 decades and they're so far behind. And it's like, yeah, fine. It's just not for me, that. I just think it's quite tragic. I think you should always, I would rather try things, because I've tried many things over the years and failed. And even every failure has a lesson, Every time you try something, you only fail if you stop. And it's like in the book, Maxwell Maltz book, Psycho-Cybernetics. He's like, just have a goal, aim at it. And then every failure is like just a pivot point. Yeah, that didn't work. You just keep course correcting until you hit your goal. And I think that's what's really important. So it's like, not worrying so much. It's like agile methodology, fail early. So if you aim in a particular direction and it doesn't quite work, you just pivot And that's what life's about. It's like every time you fail, you acquire a new skill, but you're constantly trying to improve. And I think that, to me, is how you should live, because tomorrow isn't promised to any of us. You know, you might wake up, you might never wake up, you might be dead, you might get into an accident, something might happen. And this is why I think it's upon you as a responsibility to live each day with integrity as much as you can, you know. Be honest with people, achieve your goals, work, be as good as you can be for the people closest to you, right? And just live in accordance with your identity every day. And I was just saying in the video I was recording, you know, like, have you ever watched Mike Tyson when he's asked about what he thinks about destiny? I think he was like asked by some kid, but I've seen him being asked before what people think, what he thinks about legacy, right? And his response is absolutely brilliant. I absolutely love it when he turns around and he just says, I don't give a fuck what happens when I die. Nobody's going to give a shit what happens to me when I die, you know, because I'll just be nothing, right? And he gives that attitude, all that. He's in the moment, basically. He's living in the moment. He's basically saying, who cares what kind of, he'll be forgotten when he's dead. And this is the point, right? If you think about it, God, you know, if you think about it, how many, right? We remember our parents, right? We remember our grandparents, but do we remember our grandparents' parents? Probably not. Do you really think that anyone's going to remember you when you're gone? Maybe, you know, if you've got kids, something, maybe, but that's it, right? Not many people are going to remember you. Maybe your grandkids, if you're lucky to have them, right? And that is it. And it's really, like, I used to think about this, like, you know, think about how small we really are. We're so flipping insignificant to the universe and the whole dawn of time. Like, and you can take comfort in that. I always take comfort in that, in terms of how insignificant we really are. It's like looking out to sea. You know, when you look out to sea, it's massive and it's so powerful, and it just makes you feel so inferior. So it's like, you know, all you can do is the best you can do today. I put on my reading list a book right at the bottom, The Denial of Death, Ernest Becker, on my website, andyholt.co.uk. If you go to resources, reading list, it's right at the bottom. And I actually put in there why I didn't enjoy it, but I loved the concept of that book. So the concept of the book, The Denial of Death, there are two trains of thought, right, on the whole of human advancement. One theory is the whole of human advancement is in pursuit of, let's say, sex, or, you know, the opposite sex, right? We're all trying to impress the opposite sex, right? That's one theory, right? So, like, if you think about every bridge that's built, every skyscraper that's built, every plane that's invented, or space rocket or shuttle, is all in, you know, the pursuit of the opposite sex. That's one theory. Ernest Becker's theory in the book, The Denial of Death, is it's man's, let's say, it's the avoidance of death. Right? Humans want to avoid death, right? Doesn't matter who you are, right? And he points out in there that everything that we do is all in the avoidance of death. Like, it's like an ego thing, right? So it's like trying to become immortal through ego, like basically trying to become important and become remembered. And this is like every war that's been conquered. It's trying to create this kind of like legacy from an egotistical perspective, trying to be remembered, because we fear mortality. and we don't like it. So, you know, that's what that book's about. I didn't particularly enjoy that book just because I just didn't like the writing style, but the concept of the book is still good. And it just reminds me of like what Mike Tyson said, where like, you know, who cares when I'm dead? It's like, you know, so Mike Tyson there has got a really healthy appreciation of death, and he realizes that tomorrow isn't promised to him, and you know, one day he's not going to be here. And same with the Stoics, you know, Marcus Aurelius always said this, and you know, I think it's a great lesson. Something I'm just going to finish with, because I was having a chat to my friend and life coach earlier, who actually said to me, he's got like 2 young kids, right? And he said to me, he said, Andy, you know, I've got 2 young kids, right? He said, I feel, he said, I feel that the funny thing is, probably right now, my parents are still alive, I've got 2 young kids. Right now, he feels that he's experienced the best times in his life, which were the birth of his children, right? And he says to me, he said, the best has probably happened to me so far, right? I've experienced the highlight of my life, but I haven't yet experienced the worst parts of my life, which might be the death of his parents and that kind of thing, right? And this sounds really bad now, I'm going to be vulnerable here, but he turned around to me, he said, Andy, but with you, it's the opposite. You've already experienced the worst parts of your life, the worst times in your life. And I've had experiences that I've had have been extremely tragic with people that are close to me, right? And he explained that I've been through the worst, but maybe I've yet to have the best. But most people experience the best parts of their life first. And then as they go through life, they start experiencing the worst parts, which is eventually witnessing death of others. And I thought about that, and it got me really thinking, and which is why I'm doing the video today, right? Because I just thought, shit, yeah, that's like seriously hardened me up, right? And I said to him that, like, that's why these days absolutely nothing can touch me, like nothing phases me. It's like, you know, it's never as bad as the things that I've already experienced. So in a way, is it a blessing? I don't know. You know, it makes me cold, basically. But yeah, it toughens you up. But is it a blessing? I mean, the funny thing is, right, if you ask any, I've seen a lot of psychologists, I've read about this in a lot of psychology books as well, where when the psychologists speak to the patients, no matter what trauma they've been through, I've read a lot of books on trauma, all of the authors say, and these are like professionals, they all say every time they ask their clients or patients if they had the chance to turn the clock back, would they do it? Absolutely no one says they would rewrite their life. They'd all take the life that they've got, no matter how tragic, how much trauma. And I think that says something as well in terms of appreciating the fact that tomorrow's not promised to any of us. Sometimes things happen tragic. All I would say is that you should do the best that you can to make sure that you don't make those matters worse, right? Make sure you do not waste the time that you have on this earth. Look after your health, make good choices every day, create some goals, and work on 3 small things every day, working towards your goals, and create the life that you deserve and that you want. You deserve it for yourself and for those that are closest to you. All right, got to shoot now, going training. All right, thank you. See you all next time.